Welcome back to Factful Finance, where we're about to dive into one of the most powerful topics in personal finance: how to pay off debt fast. If you've ever found yourself buried under piles of credit card statements, student loans, or personal debt, you're not alone. The good news? You can take control. But the question is, what's the fastest way to do it? You've likely heard of the Snowball and Avalanche methods, but which one is right for you? Let's break it down. Before we go any further, a quick disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only. We're not endorsing any particular product or service. Always consult with a certified financial professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. Now let's get to it. Debt can feel overwhelming, right? You've got bills coming in, interest piling up, and maybe you feel like you're making payments but never getting ahead. But what if I told you there's a clear path to crushing that debt faster than you ever thought possible? It all starts with strategy. First up, let's talk about the snowball method. Imagine this. You've got multiple debts, but instead of tackling them all at once, you start by focusing on the smallest one. Pay off the smallest debt first, then move to the next one, and so on. The idea is that by clearing out the little ones first, you build momentum and get some quick wins under your belt. Here's the math behind it. Let's say you owe $1,500 on a credit card, $3,000 on a car loan, and $10,000 on student loans. You focus on half the $1,500 credit card debt first. Once that's gone, you shift those payments to the car loan, and then finally, the student loans. The psychological benefit here is huge. Getting rid of that smaller balance first gives you a sense of accomplishment. And who doesn't want to feel like they're winning, right? But there's a flip side, the avalanche method. This is a little different. Instead of focusing on the smallest balance, you tackle the highest interest rate first. This method is all about saving the most money in the long run. Think of it as targeting the most expensive debt first, because it's costing you the most in interest. So, using the same example, you'd start by paying off the debt with the highest interest rate, which could very well be that credit card debt. Once that's gone, you'd shift to the next highest interest rate, which could be the car loan, and then finally work on the student loans. The beauty of this method? It's the most cost-effective over time, because you're tackling the debt that's dragging you down the hardest. Now, which method is better? Let's break it down. According to research from the Journal of Consumer Research, people who use the snowball method are more likely to stick with their debt payoff plans. Why? Because the wins are more tangible and feel more rewarding. So if you're someone who needs that motivation and wants to build momentum, the snowball method could be the way to go. But if you're looking for efficiency and want to save as much money as possible in interest, the avalanche method is your best bet. It's not the easiest path emotionally, but it will save you money in the long run. Let's look at a real-world scenario. Meet Liam, a 28-year-old with $15,000 in student loans, $2,000 on his credit card, and $5,000 in medical debt. His credit card is at 18% interest, the student loans at 5%, and medical debt is interest-free. Liam chooses the avalanche method. He pays off the credit card first, saving hundreds of dollars in interest. Then he moves to the student loan, paying that off faster than if he were following the snowball method. It's tough at first, no quick wins, but in the end, Liam saves money and gets out of debt faster. Now let's talk about Olivia. She's in a similar situation, but struggles with staying motivated, so she goes for the snowball method. She knocks out her medical debt first, even though it's the smallest, and then moves on to the credit card. The feeling of getting that debt off her plate drives her to keep going, and eventually she gets to the student loans. So, which one works best? It's about knowing yourself. Do you need motivation to keep pushing, or are you all about the numbers and maximizing savings? Let's not forget, if you're feeling overwhelmed with debt, you're not alone. According to a recent report from the Federal Reserve, 40% of Americans carry some form of credit card debt, and 33% of people with student loans report that they're behind on their payments. But with the right strategy, you can beat these stats. At the end of the day, the key to paying off debt fast is taking action. Whether you choose Snowball or Avalanche, The most important thing is that you start and stay consistent. Want to hear more tips on how to take control of your finances? Drop a comment below and let me know what financial topics you'd like to see next. And remember, if you found this helpful, you're going to love what's coming next. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep leveling up your financial journey. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only. Mentioning any apps, products, or services is not an endorsement. Always consult a certified financial professional for personalized guidance.